Hey there, and welcome back for another episode of the Rising Tide podcast with Tara Barrow. I'm sharing on this podcast the beginning of the journey to Mexico. And the reason why I'm sharing this is out of three different transportation modes, there was a cancellation, a delay, and I had to take another plane thing constantly. And as much as this trip took way longer than it did, it's funny how things work out. And it's to share my mindset through these events. Because I was joked saying, hey, good thing you're not superstitious because, hey, the world will be telling you not to go to Mexico. But I'm seeing it in a completely different way. So let's start at the beginning of the trip. Tuesday morning, I had a 9:44 a.m. train from the south of France. I arrive at the train station. I look up at the panel to see the trains, and the 9:44 train is nowhere to be seen. I head to the counters, and I overhear that the train has been removed. These are flexible trains. So how it works in France with these ones, if you have a ticket for one, you can take one anytime during the day. And so when they cancel them, it's not a big deal for them because you can just take another train. Except when you have a connecting train, which is a cross-country connection to Madrid, and it's 6 hours long. That was mine. The staff was super kind. I was asked if it was a must for me to get to Madrid today, and I was like, yes, I have an international flight tomorrow. I can't miss it. And so they rearranged it after over 45 minutes of trying to figure it out. They found a solution. I was put on, it was a different path. So it was a direct train cross border to Barcelona, and then Barcelona to Madrid. My first train was in first class, which was like, yay, didn't pay for that, but hey, because of the changes. And the second train I had to wait once I was in Barcelona to confirm which seat I was going to have. It was confirmed that I was going to get a train, but France can't do that because then it's a Spanish system. Get onto the platform. Oh, yeah, and so my train also, sorry, I'm babbling on. Instead of leaving at 9:44 a.m., it was a 2 p.m. train. So call my grandmother back. I head back home to have lunch with them, which was really nice. I had one extra lunch. And then I head again to the train station to catch the train. Before getting onto the train, I go see the controller and I mention what's going on. He says, no problem, get on. We'll have the Spanish controller come over and chat to you once you're on the train. I get onto the train, super nice. They take the information that was written on my train tickets. She actually took pictures and sent it over to the Spanish train system so that they would know I was coming. And the controller even offered a coffee. So it was overly kind and guided throughout the whole thing that happened. So arrive in Madrid, have a lovely time, spend the night over there, and then for my flight. First, I don't know, when you do a layover in a country, I did not realize you normally need a visa for the layover country. But apparently you do for the US, which I didn't know. And I started looking the morning of my flight and I applied for it online. We went out for a walk, and then when I came back, I paid for it. So by the time I got to the airport, I had a confirmation that I was accepted, but it was pending payment. The application was filed, but it was pending payment. The airline didn't tell anything to me. I didn't realize I needed that. A stopover in the US. Get to the airport, and then that's what I realized. The US just functions completely different to what I'm used to. This is me not knowing, completely unaware of it. And I arrive at the airport in Madrid and I was like, I've got a flight to Mexico. And they go, no, you don't. I was like, wait, what? I do. It's like, and I showed my ticket. And he goes, oh no, you're going to Miami. And I'm like, yeah, and then I'm going to Mexico. It's 1.5 hour layover. Oh, and by the way, I paid for a visa for the States for 1.5 hours. More on that later, but it doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, so get onto the flight, all good, visa's okay, flights, like everything's working. Okay, I'm onto the flight, waiting for takeoff. There's a delay. Captain talks, and there's a dent on the wing. So the technicians are having a look and making sure what's going on, how bad it is. A few moments later, the captain comes back and says, we might have to change planes, but not sure yet. And then we wait for another hour or so, and he says, no, actually, we're not going to be changing planes. We're staying on the plane. We're doing final checks and making sure that everything is okay and the paperwork. And by the time that we're ready to take off, it's been 3 hours sitting in the plane waiting. I missed my connection already. I was like, well, I'll figure it out when I get to Miami because there's no point. There's nothing I can do in the plane. I can't worry about it. That's like an hour and a half connection, 3 hours delay. I've missed it. Arrive in Miami. As we get off the plane, the airline already had planned replacement next flights. Because we arrived late at night, the flights would then be first thing in the morning, and then we would have a hotel that was put on hold for us. So go through immigration, go to the hotel through the airport shuttle that goes to the hotel, hotel shuttle, arrive at the hotel. There's another flight, American Airlines, that was not delayed, it flew and it came back. So at the hotel we arrived, there was a massive queue of people waiting. I wait about half an hour, get to the counter, show my ticket, and the woman at the counter goes, your airline actually never confirmed the reservation. They just asked us to put on hold, but we have this other plane that confirmed their reservation and we're now fully booked. Now, this is about midnight US time. I left at 5 p.m. Spanish time, 3 hours stay in the plane, 9 hour flight. I am jet lagged. I'm tired. My brain is so not functioning. I look at her and I just smile and I says, because she mentioned I can call the airline if you want to check. And I was like, please, can you call the airline? Like, I don't have Wi-Fi connections, nothing. It's like, I just need somebody to tell me what to do. Like, my plane is at 7:50 the next day, so I'll be at the airport around 5:50, so leave about 5:30 with the shuttle. But I still have about 5 to 6 hours to like, where do I go? And my brain is completely like at that time that I'm just like, tell me what to do. So she ended up calling the airlines. She was like, oh, you can actually go to this hotel. And so I asked her as well, do you want to say an announcement? Because I spotted other Iberia passengers, the same flight that I came along with me. And she was like, no, I'm too busy. So I take it upon myself. I just say like, hey, everybody, anybody that came in from the flight from Madrid, we don't have a room to stay here. They're fully booked. We're told to go to this other hotel. And we could take the shuttle back to the airport and then the shuttle to the other hotel. So, yeah, obviously everybody's tired and just whatever. I'm half laughing, hysterical. I don't know if you get that when you're extremely tired and you just laugh. It's become craziness, hysterical. Like, yeah, that's the point that I was at. It was whatever. I was smiling and laughing and I was like, yeah, I understand. I know you can't do anything. I appreciate anything you can do for me because I don't know what to do either. That's the state I was in. But yeah, I ended up calling the other hotel. I don't remember why. I think another passenger says, hey, can you call them just to check? I don't speak very good English. I was like, sure, no worries. And I called and I inquired. And the other hotel says, actually, your airline never confirmed with us and we told them we were full, we don't have space. I'm like, okay, well. So I go outside, announce it to everybody else again, come back in. And then at that time I decided to call the airline to try to figure out what to do if they actually have an answer for me. They don't. They just say you can book your own hotel and then submit the claim afterwards. And so I'm here at this hotel. The woman had told me at the front desk that I could wait for all the other passengers to go and check in, and then if there's any room, she'll then let me know. So I don't know. It's been about an hour, over an hour that passed by, and I'm looking at the. So I called Iberia. That was done. I'm looking at the queue. There's 3 passengers left in the queue, and I go back to her. It's like, you did mention, like, if everybody was gone and there was space, you might be able to get us a room, like, and cat. She was like, yeah, you need to wait, but I don't know. Like, okay. I was like, well, how I see it was I either wait there at this hotel or I go back to the airport and I wait at the airport. I'm like, well, I'm already here, so I might as well wait here, which I did. Passengers go by. It's 1 a.m. by that time. And she says, well, they actually have till 2 a.m. to check in, and then their reservation is canceled. Like, yeah, I'll wait. It's like, I'm so not bothered by this. I was like, sure, whatever. and and I wait a little bit, and I was a little before when I was calling Iberia, somebody noticed my passport. I have a French passport, and she comes up to me and she goes, "Ah, are you French? You speak French?" And then I started speaking to her in French. She didn't speak English very well, only Spanish and French. And so I started talking to her. And then there was another woman who she spoke Spanish and English. And so I spoke English with her and French with the other woman. And we just started chatting. And we're like, oh, where are you heading to? We had the same flight to Mexico the next morning. So you know, it's past 1 a.m. We're all exhausted, had a long journey. We know it's not finished yet. And we just start chatting and getting to know each other. Um, Both of these very nice. One of them lives in France and comes to Mexico to see her family. She's originally from Mexico. And the other one was coming back from Portugal to spend time with her family, and she lives in Mexico. Um, and and yeah, we good chat. I get recommendations for where I'm going. We each change numbers so that we can keep in touch when we're in Mexico, which is just incredible. Randomest place, time, whichever. Yeah, it's just okay. So that's 2 of my transportation out of 3. Oh, and then the front desk uh, woman comes up and she goes, "How many of you are here? We've got 5 rooms available." And we're like, "Yes, that means I get to have a shower and a nap." Because it's like 2.5 hours sleep. But I was like, I don't care, I'll take it. Um, yeah, so that happened. Shower, so good. Nap, nice. And wake up, head to the airport, check in, all good with the flight, go through security, go to the lounge, waiting there, boarding starts, get on the plane, walking down the alley on the plane, and there, captain comes up and he goes, "Hello, we need all the passengers to get off the plane. The plane is out of service." I burst out laughing straight away. As soon as he said it, I was like, ah. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah, and he was saying, "So sorry about this." Other passengers could see on their app that it was rescheduled for 1 p.m. Then it moved to 1:30. And yeah, the captain says you can go to the service center and get a voucher for food. I'm like, yeah, let's just do that. Let's get a voucher for food. So we head to the service center, massive queue. They're obviously explaining that there are other planes that going to Mexico, but they're all fully booked. Um, yeah. So, anyways, we get the vouchers. All this time, I'm talking with these 2 other wonderful ladies. We having a conversation of a mix of English, Spanish, and French, because I can understand 80 to 90% of Spanish. My speaking is I can communicate, but not very fluid. And then there's another lady who speaks French and Spanish, and not her English is not so good at all. And then the third one is fluent in English and Spanish and understands French. So when I was speaking French with one of them, she could understand. When they were speaking Spanish, I could understand. she couldn't. The third one couldn't really understand English, but we were having this conversations in three languages constantly throughout the whole morning. And I was joking. I was like, by the time I get to Mexico, I'll be fluent in Spanish. Joking, but yeah, it was a very interesting morning. But then the time came to take the plane. By chatting, also, I realized that one of the little ladies in Mexico City lives about 20 minutes away, and the other one lives 5 minutes away from where I'm staying. So I was like, hey, you want to share a taxi ride over into town? I was like, sure, let's do it. And yeah, so get on the flight. It's all good. We get to Mexico. Yay! Mexico immigration is so smooth. Yay! Oh man, because the US is like 3,000 questions and like checking in. They don't care when you get out, but when you get in, anyways. And yeah, and she's actually being picked up. And she's like, "Do you mind waiting?" I was like, "No, I need to get cash out and a SIM card." And I've waited so long in this trip that waiting half an hour or an hour is fine. And I'm loving the conversation with her. And I was like, "This is really nice." So I'm happy to stay here. So they dropped me off at the friend's place where I'm staying, and I've got contacts. So that was my journey to Mexico City. It was way longer. I met incredible people. I have contacts already for the next location I'm going to head to, on top of the ones that I kind of had. And yeah, and who knows what's going to happen in the world. But got to meet these two incredible women through this curious journey. That's the beginning of it. Let me know what you think of this episode. If you'd like to know more about the journey and how everything's going, this trip for me is a big shift. It's a leap of faith in myself, in everything that I'm doing, and also shifting my mindset on how things are done, how I do things, not just how I used to do things, and just opening a whole wide range of things. And so my thinking process is changing, my mindset is shifting along. I am developing myself further, self-work, and the way that I see things, it just posted. Yeah, that was the beginning. I've got 8 weeks here, and I am super curious to see what's gonna happen next. So yeah, all right, that's it for now. If you've enjoyed this, share it with somebody else and let me know what you think. You can find me on Instagram at tarabauer.com. Tarabauer.com is my website, but at Tarabauer, TARABAROT on Instagram. And come and say hi and repost the podcast, the episode, if you've enjoyed taking anything away from it. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll be back in your ears shortly. Bye.